The Federation Account Allocation Committee says it shared a total sum of 2.225 trillion naira with the three tiers of government as the Federation account grossed 3.635 trillion naira in the month of August. Arise business analyst Chika Mbonu joins me now online in the studio as always to discuss these two major incidents. Let's get this together. Good morning. Great to have you. It's been quite some time. Let's have this across. It's called a gentleman.
Yeah,
and quite a very on a very sad note. Starting the conversation today. Give me your thoughts on the Afriland Tower fires.
We commiserate with the families and the companies, Federal Land Revenue Service, Afriland Properties, UBA, PLC, UBA Capital, who suffered losses of human life and then success on that fire incident. Now, we will not focus on that in our talk this morning. What I just thought I should just focus on is while that tragedy is scary, it shouldn't cause panic. And what lessons do we learn from that, across the board, among the different stakeholders, especially as the economy is rising, you will find also that the Afriland property in Broad Street, where this happened, has many neighbors, high-rise buildings. Now, if you spin around the Koyi, Victoria Land, you will find a lot of also high-rise buildings, I imagine. And so question how, immediately is that how secure, how safe are these buildings?
If you're looking at Lagos Island, that's what the center of banking. And
yes.
You were there on Broad Street many years ago as well. And the way those buildings were built were clustered
together.
Yes.
But see, the building codes in Nigeria require that all the buildings, commercial buildings must have escape routes, sprinklers, smoke alarms, hydrants, fire extinguishers, and so on and so forth. These things are always stipulated in the building codes. And at the approval time for these buildings by the authorities, these things are there. So what's the issue, therefore, for us is some of these approvals, how diligent have they been done?
Pursued and reviewed.
And reviewed. The other thing also that periodically you're supposed to have fire audits of these buildings independently.
Yes.
Had this been done? Had they been done?
Up to date.
But sometimes if you go to some of these buildings and sometimes the lifts are not working and they have to use a staircase, sometimes you get scared what you see because the stairways have been taken over by as additional store spaces.
Furniture,
fire cabinets, fire cabinets, stationery, and so on and so forth. There's lack of due care, awareness. And in Nigeria sometimes is ruled by this "it's not my portion" mentality that you don't imagine fire will actually happen. For example, in this building, what we read, not confirmed, that it started from the basement where you have the battery inverters and the battery distance.
So it's an electrical field.
These are known to bring out heat, inverters and so on and so forth. So you're going to be very careful. And from the basement, it feeds immediately. See, one thing I want to tell you is that there's a saying that it's not the fire that kills, it's the smoke that kills faster. Anytime you have a fire in a house, it's not the fire that really kills, it's the smoke that kills faster.
Inhaled.
Yeah, inhaled. Indeed, a lot of research say depending on the intensity, both you have between 1 and 3 minutes to leave. If you have
an intense smoke.
So if I say government and regulators, they are building codes, let's stick to them. Building owners, let's stop cutting corners. Let's invest in safety systems, and the backup systems, and do regular drills. The occupants, many office workers are not aware of the safety situations. Sometimes when you do fire drills, people take it for granted. They don't come out.
Because again, it looks like a pretty decent building. This tower, you can see the image. It's not a derelict building.
The emergency exits, as I said, are sometimes blocked and by furniture or the equipment. And then, of course, our own fire services. I mean, there's a lot of improvement, but still more to be done. Sometimes when you watch some of these things that happen abroad, how the fire service teams react, you know, because when we're seeing people who are just coming down ladder and all those stuff, it was like a tragedy for us, you know. Even I just knew that something's going to happen.
I think it also goes well to talk to that. With the few folks should not panic when there's a fire.
When there's a fire.
But remember the 9/11, folks were also jumping out of buildings, out of the Twin Towers
now,
as well.
Some of us are older. I remember the Nekon fire And then I think 1983, Nekon fire, and then 2015 again, Nekon fire.
Yes.
You know, you see so many other shopping malls, government buildings, and so on and so forth. I mean, sometimes when you hear about this in Nigeria, it's where it's not stands from the account department, in the government building, public services. But as I said, all the stakeholders, the building regulators make sure that proper drawings are approved. We have the right sprinklers. Sometimes I've seen that the fire
drills.
Fire engines come. There's no water. For the fire in the fire hydrant.
Again, the first thing I want to say, people should just not panic. The drill is very important. Every
the fire people in Nigeria must be equipped with skyscraper firefighting. There are different equipment required to fight that. It's not the ladder thing that you use or two-story building kind of stuff. Some of the equipments have
several floors.
Yeah, so they go high. 20 floors and so on and so on. So I just say that let this be the sacrifice. We commiserate with the families. But again, let thunder not strike twice against us, because there's so many residential buildings, and I panic. I will shudder if this has happened. How will we react?
What happens next?
Yeah, what will react? Yes.
Okay, so how would you react to the helicopter money? Which is the FARC allocation, 2.25. Yeah, this is a sprinkler in a way. This has been sprinkling since the fuel subsidy removal, and now the sprinkler gets a whole lot more. 2.2 trillion. And I'm wondering what method would you? Yes.
So the state governors already.
So we talk about fiscal sustainability.
Yeah, they always see. Already seen some of us as enemies because of what we're talking about. Now, see, on a global basis, in the 5 years ago, in an annual basis, some of this revenue shared is not up to about, maybe cumulatively in 1 year, is about 12, 13, 14 trillion naira. Now we're talking about 25, 30 trillion in a year. Look at the month. Now, this one that was shared now, about 2.25 trillion, is one of the highest volumes I've ever had. Now, the question I always ask is, why are we pushing out these high revenue figures and the poverty levels are still very low? Why do we have these high revenue figures and the roads are still not? They're not terrible. They're not more terrible. The hospitals are not working.
You think there's a delay? There's a gap.
Yeah,
between the money and the realities
and the realities, And so you have a lot of audio projects that are being commissioned. They sign off things don't happen. There's this guy now, one of these comedians, who's called Governor Munike, and he does some of these comical things. It's just very, very, very funny. Some of the governors, he just remonstrates some of the governors who commission projects that don't exist, and fake projects and so on and so forth. Now, so much money is entering down to the sub-nationals, state levels, and local government. Yet, both we hear of salaries unpaid. We hear of pensions arrears not paid. Meanwhile, the president has celebrated part of his achievement is the fact that he has multiplied the wealth of Nigeria, and a lot is being pushed down. Pushed down to the states. But what's happening? Some of the states, when you go, you have to climb a tree to pass through the roads.
Okay, so
the hospitals are not working. They don't have the medical facilities, and so on and so forth. And so, what is happening really? So as we're challenging the federal government, the state governors are the people that we should put on the spot. And then look at the local government again. That's supposed to help. Supreme Court has ruled about local government autonomy, but it's so it's a charity.
Is that on paper? Okay. So let's leave it there for today. It looks like it's on paper that you're holding there. The Supreme Court. It's on paper. But at least let's see how we move it from paper to action.
Action.
Exactly. Okay, let's take some action at this point. Thank you so much. It's good to have you.
Thank you both.